Happy Thursday and welcome back to the Las Vegas Strip, specifically the Link Studios overlooking Caesars Palace. He's Tyler Foljam. I'm Joe Fortenbaugh. This is Bet. We've got Thursday Night Football between the Raiders and the Chargers, which is happening right down the street. Anita Marks is going to join us again this week to do a little prop art. And, of course, the Parlay to Paradise, everyone's favorite money-losing money proposition. We have not even come close to winning yet.
Joseph.
This is the week?
I actually tweeted it. I said, I feel it. This is the week.
All right. This is the week. Then
Put that out there. Put that out in the universe.
Mentally, I will get on board with that as well. This guy and I, along with Preston Johnson and Doug Kazarian, did some conversing on the Los Angeles Lakers, their win total, their championship odds, all that good stuff. You can find it on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ESPN Sports Betting. You can watch this show there, and you can find a lot of our fine ESPN betting content on that channel. Now, we begin today with our good friend Royce Young, NBA writer for ESPN, kind enough to join us here on Bet. Royce, 5 days away from the start of the NBA season, Golden State at Brooklyn, Kevin Durant going against his former team. The Warriors find themselves as 5.5-point underdogs in this game. If Steph Curry, who's coming back from injury, had a prop in terms of how many points he would score, and that prop was 29.5, which way would you go?
I would have to lean on the underside of that. And really just the reasoning is abbreviated training camp. Steph hasn't played competitively in basically a year, coming off an injury. He's going to be Steph eventually. He's going to get back to his high-scoring, high-shooting ways. But it's a lot to ask in that situation. There's going to be a lot of profile, a lot of pressure, a lot of tension within that game. And that's not to take anything necessarily away from Steph, but this is a team that doesn't have Klay Thompson. And so that would kind of tell you that maybe Steph's going to take on more of a scoring load. But Steph Curry is really an inclusive player, and I think he's going to try to set a tone early in the year to include a lot of different players on that roster, try to get Andrew Wiggins going, try to get their top draft pick, James Wiseman, going. So I'm going to lean under on that.
All right, let's stay in the kitchen with the chef, Steph Curry. His season-long future odds for MVP are plus 750. We know Klay Thompson is gone. The Warriors, what is their ceiling in the West? Who knows? Is that value for his MVP odds, plus 750, or do you think it'd have to be a little bit higher to get you interested?
I think there's some value there, and the reason for that is that there's kind of a pre-existing MVP narrative built in right here, right? Like when you have a co-star go down early, like Klay Thompson is, there's so much more burden put on a superstar player like Steph Curry. So it reduces the expectations of the Warriors to the general public, to the media, to fans, to everyone else. And so if the Warriors are better than what people think, there's a lot of people that have the Warriors 6th or 7th in the West. Look, Steph Curry is a two-time MVP. He's a guy that led a team to 73 wins. He's got multiple championships. This guy, at his best, is a top 5 player in the NBA. He is completely capable of leading the Warriors to a 50-win season. And if they finish, let's say, top 4 in the West and kind of surprise people, then he's going to be an MVP candidate. So I think that when you look at the list of current candidates in the NBA, Steph's not on that top tier, but it's not going to take much to bump him up there. So I would say that there's some value there to that, just because I think Steph's going to be in that conversation at the end of the day.
The Lakers are laying 2 points on opening night against crosstown rival, the Los Angeles Clippers. LeBron led the league in assists last season. He had an amazing year, but he's got a very different supporting cast this season. For people like my man Tyler here who love to bet props, this new supporting cast, how do you think it affects LeBron's stat lines this season?
It'll be interesting. LeBron basically was the point guard of the Los Angeles Lakers full-time in so many different ways. They sometimes would redistribute to Rajon Rondo when he would come off the bench, but for all intents and purposes, LeBron ran that offense. And I think one of the things the Lakers wanted to do, Rob Pelinka and LeBron James, and Frank Vogel for that matter, wanted to reduce the responsibility of LeBron throughout the year. He's aging. He is a man from another planet. He is a robot. It doesn't seem like Father Time wants to touch him. He's unique in that way, but to take care of himself and make sure that he extends extends his career for as long as possible. He just signed that new extension. The Lakers are going to try to reduce some of the burden that is put on him. That's why Dennis Schroeder has been added in large part. LeBron liked him. LeBron likes the ability to share offense with Schroeder, let him take over some of the creative responsibility. So I could see LeBron's numbers coming down a little bit in that regard, just because LeBron's going to try to conserve himself to when it really matters. And plus, let's not forget, LeBron really wasn't all that excited about the short window of time between the end of the finals and the start of the NBA season. So I could see LeBron kind of, let's say, pacing himself until the playoffs start.
All right, but a crosstown rivalry matchup with another Western Conference contender will usually get someone like LeBron up on opening night. What do you think the chances are of LeBron having a triple-double? Let's say we made it plus 250. There have been 8 instances of a player on his team's opening night since 2000 recording a triple-double. LeBron was, in fact, one of those back in 2016 with the Cavs.
Were the other 7 Russ?
The other 7 may have been Russ. I don't know. Can't verify that. We'll get ESPN stats and info on that. But if we put LeBron's prop at a triple-double, or for a triple-double, pardon me, at plus 250, how would you feel about that specific for Tuesday night?
I don't love it just because... Look, I think LeBron is going to come out and he's going to play hard. He's going to play well in an opening night game. I think the fact that it's the Clippers is going to motivate him to some degree. But again, I think LeBron is going to just kind of ease himself in to a lot of this season. I think he's going to really focus on elevating Anthony Davis. Look, I think Anthony Davis is a leading contender for MVP this year, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact LeBron's going to want to help him win it. So, look, LeBron is a walking triple-double. The stat line 27, 7, and 7 was invented for LeBron James. He is always a threat to put one up. But I just don't think it's going to be a focus of his going into that game. So I don't necessarily love that value.
NBA writer for ESPN, Royce Young, always so generous with his time as he joins us here on Bet. Royce, you knocked it out of the park as always. Thank you so much, my man.
No problem.
Thursday night football right down the street in just a few minutes as the 7-6 Las Vegas Raiders get set to host the 4-9 Los Angeles Chargers. This is a rematch from when these two got together back in Week 9 in L.A. Right. The Raiders won that game 31-26. This has the makings of a spectacular mess when these two get together tonight. FPI, ESPN's Football Power Index, is giving the Raiders about a 20% chance of making the playoffs. How do you see that? Agree? Would you go a little higher? Do you think they can make a push here at the end?
I disagree with it. I would go a little bit lower. I'd put it closer to 12 to 15%. I think, again, the Ravens are going to run the table. I think the Ravens are going to get to 10-6 on the season, which is still possible for the Raiders, but I don't see them winning out like I do the Ravens. You, of course, have to jump over. If the Ravens do that, not only do you have to jump over the Ravens, but Miami has to fall out, the Colts have to fall out, or the Browns have to fall out. There's just too many teams right now standing in the way of the Raiders. The losses to the Falcons, that one was especially egregious. They almost really wrecked their season by losing to the Jets just a couple of weeks ago. Ooh. They've been in a tailspin since getting to 6-3. I thought that was a Fugazi record, so to speak.
It's a
Fugazi record, and it seems to be coming to fruition again. As a matter of fact, I don't even like them tonight. I think they lose tonight, hint, hint, as we get ready to talk about this game.
Jump right back into that. Is that where you're going tonight? You taking the points?
Not only
3.5.
Not only would I take the points, Brother Joseph, I got the Chargers outright. Money line dog. I like them to win this game as a money line plus 165. Right. I do like the total, especially since it's coming down with this news. Is Keenan Allen going to play? Is Mike Williams going to play? Turns out they are. Could be on a pitch count. Who knows? But
it's like I said, this game's going to be a mess.
Raiders games have hit the over more than any other team this season. They're 9-3-1 to the over. The Chargers play at a frenetic pace. They throw the rock a lot. Justin Herbert's had 42 or more pass attempts in 7 of his last 8 games. And like you said, it is kind of a beautiful mess. We could get help to the over by some kind of fumble on a kickoff that's returned, or
there will be a goofball touchdown.
Anthony Lynn, like forgetting he has a time. I don't know what Anthony Lynn will do. He always invents new ways to make you kind of scratch your head, but in some way he'll contribute to that total, which has come down from about 54 or 53 down to 51 with this news here. So I'm on the total going over, but I really do love the Chargers money line plus 165.
A lot of injuries in this game. We'll detail some of them right now. The Raider defense, which you were just talking about, they have been horrendous as of late. Middle linebacker Nicholas Morrow, he's out for this game. Safety Jonathan Abram is out for this game. Pass rusher Cleveland Farrell is out for this game. Former number 1 pick Damon Arnett, the corner out of Ohio State, he's out for this game. And that's off a defense that has surrendered 37 points per game over the last 4 outings. So they just fired Paul Gunther this week for a reason. It could be tough for tonight, but total's coming down.
Yeah.
Defense is losing starters.
Yeah.
Total's coming down. Lines moving to the Raiders. They went from 3 to 3.5 today. Does that worry you at all? Because I know you've been on the Chargers for a while.
Yes, it worries me a little bit, but I don't understand it. I'm not going to try and pretend to understand it. When I think all things considered, the Chargers are just the better team. Okay. Better talent. They may not have the better coach, but they have the better roster, the better talent. Then you add into the fact that Keenan and Mike Williams will be able to contribute in some fashion. That they have Austin Eckler. That Raider defense that's allowing 30-plus points per game, third worst in the NFL this season, is losing key starters and has to replace the guy who's coordinating and calling that scheme. I just don't like it. I don't like the Raiders. I do like the over, but it's scary a little bit. But I'm going to stick with my guns, my intuition, my gut. The Chargers.
I got 2 guns, 1 for each of you. Doc Holliday, Tombstone. Great movie if you've never seen it. I've got 2 picks here.
I'll be yo Huckleberry.
Believe it or not.
Is that from that as well?
Yeah.
I'll be yo Huckleberry.
Same guy. Very nicely done. I've got 2 picks. The main reason, I'm not sure which one I told the staff I was going to be doing here in this segment, so I'm going to give them both to you. It's the Chargers plus 3.5. I'm with this guy. I will take the 3.5 points since it's there. I also love the Charger team total, which is sitting at 23.5 points tonight. We detailed the problems the Raider defense has been having. 10 of 13 games this season, they have given up 26 or more points. Over their last 4 games, they have given up 37 points per game, and they're down 4 key starters. I am a bit concerned at the movement towards the under. I am a bit concerned that this opened earlier in the day at around 25, and it's come down about 1.5 points through a key number of 24, if we're going to talk about that for team total. So there's a little bit of concern, but ultimately, there will be what I like to call some goofball touchdowns in this game.
I agree.
Kick returns, block punts, all types of nonsense. So that's where we're at now, and we've got plenty more coming up on that throughout the course of the show. We've also got the Parlay to Paradise right around the corner, but now it's time for round 2 of what we like to call prop art. Our favorite, Anita Marks, ESPN sports betting analyst, is about to join us. Here's how the game works. Each of the 3 of us has 3 props, and we go around the circle. Last week, it was a...
At least we were all together.
Well, we were all tied. 3-way push.
We were in lockstep with one another.
3-way push. We all went 1 and 2, so now it comes down to whether or not we can take a step in the right direction, and let's bring in Anita Marks to join us for a little prop art. Anita, how you doing? You feeling a little bit more confident this time around?
I was feeling really confident last time. I'm surprised I went 1 and 2. What happened with Andy Dalton? I mean, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm ready for this week. Let's go.
All right. So, like always, Anita, you're our guest. You're so gracious with your time. You will start. Tyler will go second. I will go third. The floor is yours.
All right, I'm going with a quarterback that I know is going to deliver this week, and that's Josh Allen over rushing yards at 28.5. The Denver defense, much better against the pass than they are against the run, but no bueno against mobile quarterbacks. Their mobile quarterbacks are averaging 5.2 yards per carry against them. They're ranked 31st in the NFL, second to last in the NFL against scrambling quarterbacks. So I love Josh Allen this week over rushing yards.
All right, I'm going to go to this game on Thursday night. Brother Joe, Sister Anita, Austin Eckler over 6.5 receptions. Why? Well, he's been getting 11.3 targets per game since returning from injury. We know how good he is in the receiving game, and Justin Herbert has taken to him just in the same way Phil Rivers did. And check out the way that the Raiders' scheme has allowed running backs to flourish. The Raiders are allowing a 21.7% target share to opposing running backs. That's 3rd highest in the league. Eckler's already one of the highest volume running backs. I expect him to get 11, 12 targets. I know Allen and Williams are playing, but even with them in the lineup for the Chargers, you still got to throw the rock to Austin Eckler. He's their healthiest, best weapon. I think he has a big day, over 6.5 receptions.
Back to the well for me, Andy Dalton. I don't know who you think you are not throwing interceptions. I will not be fooled again. Andy Dalton, in every start this season, entering last week at Cincinnati, had thrown an interception, at least 1 in 5 straight games. He went to Cincinnati, should have smelled something there with that Bengals defense, but I didn't. I kept the foot on the throttle, and I paid for it. And I told you last week I was going to come back and I was going to double down right again. A little juicy fruit here. We're laying minus 170, but the Niners are a much stiffer challenge on defense than the Cincinnati Bengals. In fact, the Niners, I believe, ranked somewhere around 12th in terms of interceptions this season, so they're near the top of the heap. Dalton, don't let me down. You know you want to do it. Throw that INT this week. Throw it for us. Anita, you're up, round 2.
All All right, I'm sticking with the Saturday games. Keep in mind, 2 Saturday games. I gave you my first one. My second one is a Green Bay Packers tight end, Robert Tonyan, over receiving yards. Listen, his last 10 targets, he's reeled in 9 of them. What does that mean? He has Aaron Rodgers' trust. You gotta love that. And he goes to him in the red zone as well. I like over receptions. I think he scores a touchdown. But also in this matchup, Carolina, they're giving up 6 yards per catch to opposing tight ends. So the matchup is there. Tonyan over receiving yards this week.
Yeah, I'm going to go to that Saturday game. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go to the other weapon that Aaron Rodgers likes to use, and that's Davante Adams, maybe the best weapon we have at the wide receiver position in the NFL right now. Check this out, guys. Over his last 8 games, Davante Adams is averaging 8.5 receptions, 111 yards, and 1.5 touchdowns per game. If you extrapolate that to a 16-game season, guys, that's 136 catches for 1,780 yards and 24 touchdowns. Is that good?
That sounds pretty good, Brother Tyler.
That's pretty good. So for a guy who's getting 10 to 12 targets, for a guy who's making 8 catches a game, I'll go over 6.5 receptions against a Carolina defense that likely is not going to have any answer for Davante Adams whatsoever.
Let's go to Anita's place of birth, Miami, Florida.
I didn't know that.
Cameron Newton over 39.5 rushing yards against the Miami Dolphins. Number one, last time we saw the Patriots was 10 days ago, and they got humiliated on a Thursday night against the Rams. You got the bounce back spot, you got the extra rest, you got the divisional matchup against the Miami Dolphins. Now, one thing of many that the Dolphins do very, very well is defend the pass. One thing the Miami Dolphins do not do very well is defend the run. They're 22nd against the run. Case in point, Cam Newton in week 1 against this very defense, 15 carries for 75 yards. If you're going to beat Miami, you're going to have to establish yourself on the ground. And quite frankly, doesn't matter who the opponent is, the Patriots haven't thrown the ball well at all this season. Newton over 39.5 rushing yards. Round 3. Anita, you're up.
I like Brandon Ayuk. That's right. I love his last name, by the way. Deebo Samuel. He's out right now. What happens when Deebo Samuel's out? Ayuk, his target share increases to 27%. He's averaging 75 receiving yards a game. He's finding the end zone. And also, his matchup is going to be against Rashard Robinson. Wide receivers going up against him are averaging 10 yards per catch. So I love over in receiving yards for Brandon Ayuk this week.
Yeah, I love that one, Anita. Brandon Ayuk's a guy who's going to be in a lot of my daily fantasy lineups on DraftKings because of what you mentioned there, the matchup with Dallas, the fact that Deebo's not around, and Ayuk's just a stud. He's been one of the, if not for Justin Jefferson and Chase Claypool, he might be the best rookie wide receiver we've seen this season. All right, Joe mentioned Cam Newton and the Patriots. He wants to go over the rushing total for Cam.
I do.
I want to go under the passing total for Cam because I think that's the way that the New England Patriots can win this game. Don't throw the rock with Cam Newton. That's clearly not working this year. Run the rock, power, running game. So 161.5 is the passing yardage total. Cam Newton has had trouble eclipsing that. In the modern NFL, 2020, Cam Newton has thrown for more than 162 yards just 5 times in 13 games. 5 times in 13 games in 2020. He can't even get 162 yards more than 50% of the time he's out there. We saw what happened last week against a great pass defense like the Rams. We know Brian Flores and the Dolphins have a similarly dominant pass rush, back end, secondary led by Xavier Howard and Byron Jones. So I don't think Cam's even going to try and throw the football in this game. I'm going under 161.5 passing yards for Newton.
There we go, a little double dipper. This one, speaking of double dippers, so nice. I'm talking about it twice. It's a nice game. It's the LA Chargers going over 23.5 total points. Did you really think I was going to wait until this weekend for action? I need action now, and this is how we're going to do it. Like we said, 4 key starters on the Raider defense out for this game. They've given up 37 points per game over the last 4 outings, fired defensive coordinator Paul Gunther, and they have struggled throughout the course of the year. 26 or more points surrendered in 10 of 13 games. Now this is where our little game of prop art should end, but I've been told, Brother Tyler, that we have been bamboozled. Anita's coming in with a bonus play. She's got number 4. Anita, I don't know whose show you think this is, but we'd be happy to hear prop number 4.
I'm so excited. Listen, I'm eating crow here. I did not expect Jalen Hurts to put on the show that he did last week against the Saints. Are you kidding me? He rushed for over 100 yards Is he going to do it again this week? You know what, guys? I think he is. Against that Cardinals defense, no bueno against mobile quarterbacks. Gave up almost 126 rushing yards total in 2 games with Wilson. And you guys been talking about Cam Newton. Almost 50 rushing yards to Cam Newton. Man, this is only the second time in the NFL history since Lamar Jackson that a rookie quarterback rushed for over 100 yards in his first game. And against the Saints defense, are you kidding me? Boy, I am teeing this guy up again. I love over rushing yards for Jalen Hurts this week. He has really injected new life into this Eagles team. Joe, that's got to make you feel happy. So I'm excited for Hurts. I think he has a big game this week against the Cardinals.
I'll say this, Anita. I hope we're not playing each other in any DraftKings lineups because Hurts is who I'm anchoring my lineups with at quarterback. For the very reasons you just mentioned there, he's going to have a great floor rushing the football against this defense this week.
Everybody on Jalen Hurts, what could possibly go wrong after what we just saw? Anita, great stuff as always. We look forward to seeing you on Daily Wager tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern. Daily Wager Sunday morning, ESPN2 at 9 a.m. Eastern. Have a great night.
Thank you, guys.
All right. I'm very interested to see how we're going to score this next week with her bonus one.
Right.
So if that wins and another one loses, does that get subbed in?
Does it count as like a tie for her? Or I don't know how that's
She's
gonna
so
work.
awesome, you know we're going to just do whatever she says. So we are up, you know what's Creek. All right. We will have the full recap for you on Monday's show, 10 props. We'll see how we do. Now it's time for something we like to play called One Word. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. I'm going to read a statement. You are going to give me the first word that comes to your mind when you hear that statement. Are you ready, sir?
I am.
The San Antonio Spurs, they play basketball, are 100-1 to win the Western Conference. Not the title, the Western Conference, which is tied for dead last with the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Sacramento Kings.
Wow.
One word.
That word.
Flabbergasted could be a word.
For me,
Eulogy.
It represents the end of the dynasty for these. It's like the Patriots. We're seeing both the Patriots and the San Antonio Spurs in 2020. Their 2-decade-long runs atop their respective leagues as the standard bearer, as the gold standard of how an organization should be run and be competitive year in, year out. It's coming to an end. Let's put it in the books here. This team now needs to, this organization and franchise now needs to kind of tear it all down and rebuild. LaMarcus Aldridge and DeMar DeRozan together, even in their prime, probably not enough to win an NBA championship, especially at this stage in their career. I don't think they can. So this represents the eulogy of the San Antonio Spurs dynastic run. It was a good run, but it's over.
Wow, quite morbid there, sir. I don't know how I'm going to follow that up, but I will try. My one word for that statement isn't so much a word as it is a name. Like Hawthorne.
Nathaniel Hawthorne?
As in Nathaniel Hawthorne, the
English
author of The Scarlet Letter, your favorite book. I know what you read. I know what you like. As Leonardo DiCaprio quoted Nathaniel Hawthorne in the great movie The Departed, families are always rising and falling in America. And after 22 consecutive trips to the playoffs and 5 NBA finals, this family is falling in America. So I figured I'd bring a little class and sophistication to the show today. How do you feel about that?
I didn't think you had it in you. I honestly, I didn't think they taught that at Allentown High, but I am impressed by the curriculum that you learned there.
Okay, so number 2, I'm going to lead this one off. Okay. The 10-3 Buffalo Bills are 12-1 to win the Super Bowl, which is tied with the Pittsburgh Steelers, who they beat this past Sunday night. My one word
for the Bills being the... What are you doing?
My one word, again, is Nathaniel Hawthorne, who once said, families are always rising and falling in America. And after 20 straight seasons without a playoff win and only 2 trips to the playoffs during that stretch, the Buffalo Bills are rising in America. The fan base deserves respect. They put each other through tables willingly. One guy accidentally lit himself on fire a year or 2 ago. They get a little frisky with each other in there. It's not what I say. It's just what I see on YouTube randomly, which, by the way, youtube.com/ESPN Sports Betting. All that great ESPN Sports Betting stuff. But yeah, Nathaniel Hawthorne.
Did your in-laws bring a bunch of Hawthorne books to the home for this winter vacation? They're all like, what's going on here?
If they're watching this right now, they will think that this is all a big elaborate ruse. No one thinks I have this in me. I'm going deep into the arsenal today.
Not. All right, I with the Bills as 12-1, same as the Steelers, to win the Pro Football Championship, or Super Bowl, as we like to call it around here. I'm going to call that, like Fendi, It's trendy. The Bills seem to be a trendy team right now. They're trending in the right direction, although I don't know if they should be. I think they're getting a big boost from the fact that they have played and played well in these standalone island games. They look good in front of a national TV audience, beating the 49ers, beating a Pittsburgh team that's obviously struggling right now. They have what I think is kind of a gotcha spot against the Denver Broncos in Denver, because next week they're on Monday night against the Patriots with an opportunity to really bury Bill Belichick and the boys of the AFC East and lift themselves to the top of that division as division champs. So they're trendy, but not all trends necessarily are good, Brother Joe. Like Hawthorne being an answer to every question in one word.
Maybe not the third one. You'll start this one off. The 8-5 Miami Dolphins are plus 220 to make the playoffs, which means a $100 wager on yes would return $220 of profit.
They're
They're
slipping. They're falling. They can't get up. This is the team that I think is going to be leapfrogged by the Baltimore Ravens to get into the final spot in the AFC wildcard. I do think the Colts get in. I do think the Browns get in. That third spot, I think, is going to go to the Ravens after they run the table. And the team that's going to fall out, it's going to slip out, those mammals, as our brother Doug Kazarian liked to say, the Miami Dolphins.
All right, my one word for the Miami Dolphins at plus 220 to make the playoffs would be, not going to be Hawthorne this time. Could it be Gatsby as in Great Gatsby?
Oh, that would be fantastic.
I don't even know how to spell this word.
What have you done here?
T-O.
Oh, you're going gluttonous.
This is just gluttonous. Plus 220, they are, like you said, the 7 seed. If they lose to the Patriots this week, they got the Bills in Buffalo in 2 weeks. They dropped 2 of 3. Baltimore's got an easy schedule.
Oh,
Surge right past them.
Cakewalk.
Gluttonous. And so concludes our English lesson / segment called One Word.
I have indulged in some gluttony in Miami, though I'm not afraid to admit it.
That's what Miami's all about, my friend. That's what Miami's all about indeed. The moneymaker that makes no money. The Parlay to Paradise. We do it every single Thursday. Here is how it works. 9 picks tied together in a $50 parlay for the chance to make so much cash. We jet this job for Paradise. We are here, which means we have yet to win this after 14 weeks. I think we're 0-14, but this is the week.
This is the week, I feel
according to you.
This is the week.
Give me your 4. Here's last week. Get that out of here. I don't want to see that graphic. Positive mindsets only. Positive mindsets only. How
You'll
you
notice
feeling?
the only check mark I have is Chargers as a money line underdog.
Yes, sir.
I'm going right back to the well, Brother Joe. Ooh. Chargers as a money line underdog
That's gonna
tonight
juice it up for
against
us.
the Raiders. That'll juice it. Philadelphia, Arizona. We were talking about how Jalen Hurts might have a good matchup. I think Kyler Murray's finally getting healthy again. I'm going over that total. The Rams, I'll lay the 17.5 against the Jets. I'll be surprised if the Jets score more than 10 points.
Jets could get hot.
The LA Rams. Oh, yeah, I guess they could.
They could.
I don't care if it's Taysom Hill, Drew Brees, or Archie Manning playing quarterback for the Saints. The Chiefs will win that game by more than 3 points.
All right, I like it. Those are your 4. I'm going to throw 4 out on my own. Let's start with college football. Let's start Friday night. USC, Oregon, over 63.5 points. USC can score. They're averaging about 35 points per game this season. I think their defense is going to be slipping, to use your word. Slipping in this game this time around. Playing Oregon, who's filling in for Washington this week because of COVID.
Yeah, so weird.
USC knows they can't go to the playoffs. I think Oregon's going to score, and their defense has been terrible. Notre Dame, plus 10.5 against Clemson. Notre Dame's defense is really nasty. They held UNC to 17 points. That UNC team outside of Notre Dame games this year scored 45 points a game. They just hung 60 in Miami. They can hold Clemson to a reasonable total. They can score their own.
Everyone seems to be on Notre Dame, 10.5.
Stanford Steve likes it, which scares me, but we'll figure that one out later. New England against Miami. We laid out all the reasons with Belichick earlier. I think that game's going to be sluggish. Patriots are going to want to run. The defense, Bill Belichick, 11 straight wins against rookie quarterbacks. And then finally, Minnesota -3 against Chicago. The look ahead we're here with 6.5. Minnesota -6.5. They lost at Tampa Bay. The Bears beat Houston. And now all of a sudden it drops to 3. Remember, this Chicago team went into that Houston game last week having lost 6 straight while averaging only 19 points per game. Keep that in mind. They're going to come back to earth here. Guest picker this week, Kevin Connors, ESPN college football studio host, kind enough to lend us some of his expertise. Okay. He is going with Penn State -5.5 against Illinois.
Alma mater.
My alma mater. They've been a little bit stronger later in the season, and Illinois just fired Lovie Smith, so who knows which version of the Illini shows up. Only 21K this week.
I try, again, you know what I do. I like to take these dogs. I like to juice it. You're always taking, you're taking extra juice on yours just to get back to even. Yeah. There was another underdog I wanted to throw in there. I can't remember what it was. Actually, no. I did like the Eagles. I did like the Eagles, but then I read about some injuries in their secondary. You know what it actually was?
Darius Slay.
I'm glad I didn't put it in there because it would have been contradictory to yours. It was actually Chicago. I actually like Chicago on the money line.
Well, they just hammered Houston, so they looked all right.
I get what you're saying, though, with that look of line.
Roulette bet. We can go against each other. You can either win $22,000 with me on that pick, or you can win a $1 roulette
If we win
chip.
$22,000, I will return this with interest. Returned with interest, my friend.
He, right there, the man with the interest. That's Tyler Foljam. I'm Joe Fortenbaugh. Thanks to all of you for watching this show this week, tonight, and all that good stuff. We will be back Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday next week. Enjoy the football tonight. Enjoy the football this weekend. Have a great weekend.
Back with interest.